Benfica Podcast is one of the founding members of Benfica Independent. Benfica Independent is an independent platform made by fans for fans, and in it you can find opinion articles, podcasts, including ours truly, and also modalidades, if you will. We're also on Patreon, patreon.com/Benfica Independent, where you can get merch, you can sign to get exclusive content, and share your Benfiquismo.
Ser benfiquista é uma crença. É uma religião muito grande. A adesão a um culto. Que é liberado, que é crer, que é mental, que é o caráter das pessoas.
A alma de quem é grande, maior que os maiores. É uma paixão que não tem explicação.
Eu não consigo explicar o que é ser do Benfica. Eu sinto o que é ser do Benfica. Há de facto uma paixão e as paixões são assim, vivem-se assim intensamente.
Aqui não há nenhuma razão. É paixão, paixão, paixão.
Ser Benfica. Até à morte.
Ladies and gentlemen, bem-vindos. Welcome to another edition of the Benfica Podcast. I am your honorary host, Cristiano Oliveira, and we're doing a little bit different, things a little bit different. Today we dimmed the lights. We're getting sexy up in here today, baby. My partner in crime, and I'm not going to kiss you even though it's getting sexy. I wasn't told you. But to my left, Alfredo Fumaças, the Capitão, the guy that got this party all started. Welcome to your Benfica Podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Dave, my primo up north in nice and peaceful Canada. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. Why we switching up the hosting duties? Something happened? Something I missed going on here?
Capitão, you want to answer that?
No, I just didn't feel like doing it today.
I think Capitão is he's got his boxing gloves on today, Dave. He wants to get back at you from last week.
No boxing gloves.
No boxing gloves?
I think that Cristiano and I did something this afternoon. They'll be out in the Benfica Independent platform. We interviewed the former Benfica player. You'll have to find out when it comes out. We're not going to reveal it, but I got to be honest.
Patreon, yo, $50 a head. Right? Is that how no, not like that.
No, I got to be honest. I'm buzzing from the conversation. It was a nice conversation with the player in English, obviously.
Yes,
and it was good. I'm buzzing. So I've already done a little bit of hosting this afternoon. So now it's Cristiano's turn.
Well, Dave, you want to host?
I thought it was because Taarabt had such a great game that we had to put Alfredo on mute for the whole podcast.
Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get into that. First of all, I want to say what's up to all the Freddies. Right now, Carlos Amaro is the only one that showed up so far. Everybody else is a little shy because maybe they're, afraid of having to praise Adel Taarabt. So I'll wait until that to mention that a little bit later on in the podcast. But today, we're going to recap Boa Vista Benfica. We're going to recap couple of performances for some of our players. Obviously, some guys that have better performances than others, but we'll get into that. We're going to talk a little bit about Benfica hosting Ajax at Stade de Luz in a phenomenal Champions League matchup. I know everyone is buzzing for that. And then I don't even know who the hell we play after that. Who do we play in the Liga?
Guimarães.
We play Guimarães. They're not having a spectacular season. Pepa, the guy that came in at the beginning of the season was there it is, the preview. The guy that at the beginning of the season, many were clamoring and hoping that he'd be the next Benfica manager, has not had the best of run in Guimarães. But we'll get into that a little bit later on. But for now, without further ado, let's kick off Boa Vista Benfica. I'm gonna do the normal that our Capitão here likes to do on the podcast.
Like you do.
Starting 11, Vlaco Dimos in goal, Lázaro, Otamendi, Vertonghen, and Grimaldo in the back, Weigl, Taarabt in the middle, Rafa on the right, Everton on the left, and Darwin and the great Pistoleiro Gonçalo Ramos up top.
Pistoleiro Jr.?
We'll call him a
later
junior for
wannabe.
now. We'll call him a junior for now.
Or wannabe.
So, game, at the end of the day, not the most positive result. Things started off well. Give us your thoughts of Benfica. Before we get into the messy stuff, let's talk about the positive stuff, because I am hosting and Carlos is in the chat, and maybe I might be positive Cristiano due to the fact that I don't really have to give my opinion. I just ask questions, so maybe I'll bring out the positivity. Let's keep it positive. Alfredo, thoughts on Benfica's first 45 minutes?
Good.
Okay,
it's too bad it was. It was good. Too bad it was only 45 minutes. 2-0. A couple chances created, some good stuff. 2 goals called offside by the VAR, which is why the VAR is there. And then that was it.
You think they were offsides? They should let that go just because of that play in the middle. I mean, I think that's one of those.
Benefit of the doubt because of the touch.
Look, credit to him. He did what he does best, which we all know. When he gets the ball, gets behind it, starts running, takes it upfield, has great vision. But nonetheless, it didn't count for nothing. So, Dave, your thoughts on the first half? I mean, Alfredo
summed it up with good. With good, I think I should add a little bit more words to there. Yeah, the thing with this team is we know that they can't put 2 halves together, right? So if we had the good half in the first 45, the second half was the opposite of good and was shit. If we want to keep it nice and friendly on this podcast, but yeah, fantastic first half. Only 2 goals to show for it, but really in the Portuguese league. Against these Monkus, 2 goals should be more than enough to get you 3 points. But that wasn't the case on Friday afternoon.
Just to remind everyone, because this game was on Friday, and I mean, thanks to these notes, the only thing I remember is that everything else has been just buzzy. But to remind everyone, Benfica took the lead in the 21st minute. Adel Taarabt shot outside the box. Nice build-up play by Benfica. Taarabt caught everybody going one way, went back the opposite. It was kind of reminding me one of those tennis plays, where the guys run the other way, you hit it back and kind of catch everyone off guard. So credit to them, and fantastic play, at least I thought, in that build-up. And then a few minutes later, in the 30th minute, Grimaldo follows up the play, gets to a rebound, gives Benfica a nice, comfortable 2-0 lead. Benfica's playing relatively well. You think they're on their way, and then what happened, Alfredo?
Yeah. No, because the 2-0 result is always a result that's
that's
very
false,
dangerous.
Gives you that false confidence.
Yeah, because if you allow one, then you allow the other team to come at you with some momentum if they're able to claw one. So it was dangerous. But the reason why I say there was a good first half, and it was the only half really, is because anytime you go into the locker room winning 2-0 and you had 2 goals called against you, you have to look at the balance of the first half as a positive one. The second half, I don't know. I think that maybe some of the guys got on the bus and came back to Lisbon to rest for the Ajax game, and I really don't know what happened. But this was something that we were talking about in the run-up last week that I mentioned. Do you think that because Boavista had such a great outing against us, and they were the better team on the Taça da Liga semifinal, if you feel that they would come into this game with a chip on their shoulder? And I think that, yes, I think that Boavista gave continuation to what they did in that semifinal, which, they lost. And was it a PKs that Benfica won that game?
Exactly.
So maybe they felt that they had been hard done. And so the second half, basically, it was all Boavista, and Cristiano and I were watching the highlights, and I was telling Cristiano, Benfica makes a lot of these scrub players look like world beaters.
The one thing that's mind-boggling, we talk about this for years now on this Benfica podcast in particular, which is going back to Rui Vitória, then to Bruno Lage, then it is what it is, the first appearance by Verissimo, and then even with JJ, and now back to the second, Volta, what is what it is, which is Benfica for long stretches of the season, they played pretty good first halves, and then they would go into the halftime show, whatever the hell it is, whatever they were watching or whatever the hell they doing there, and once they come back out for the second half, it's a totally different team. And this has been going on, guys, for a very long time. As I mentioned, this goes back to Rui Vitoria days, and it just seems like other teams were able to make the adjustments, the proper adjustments. While Benfica, I don't know, maybe they're watching Snoop Dogg videos. I don't know what it is that they do at halftime, but it doesn't translate to the second half. They can't continue that domination, or they can't continue that good play into the second half, and I don't understand why. Do you guys think this is mental? Do you think it's coaching? Do you think it's just ingrained in this team now? Dave, how do you fix this?
It's got to be mental, because like you've listed off the coaches that have gone through this same issue. Vitoria, when this first started, we thought it was a Vitoria issue, but we're now on our fourth coach, and this is still seems to be an issue. I don't know if they got to bring a priest, a rabbi, or a shrink in there in the locker room. But this has been going on since 2017. I want to say maybe even early 2016, whenever Vitoria's first season was there. But I think it's definitely mental now, and it's not it is a coaching issue, because whoever the coach is can't seem to get these players to put in a full 90 minutes. But I think it is still a majority of a mental issue with this team here.
Well, but if he goes into the half leading 2-0 at the Bessa, they come out and Boavista gets on them right away. Right in the first opportunity they had to come on goal, Vlaco Dimos had to make a save. A real good scoring opportunity by Boavista, and it was a warning sign.
It was a warning sign.
I mean, I was just going to piggyback on what I asked. I mean, this is because I can't really translate into anything else. It's just week after week. These teams seem ready to play. I think, Alfredo, before I pass you the ball, these teams have lost the respect, that fear. I think that's what it comes down to, because we knew in years past that Benfica had the ability to smash any opposition, had the ability to control a game, and they just can't do that no more. You mentioned the Taça de Cerveja semi-final appearance, where they dominated Benfica in that second half. They dominated. I think they had a lot of confidence off of that game. Going into this game, understood that they were down at the halftime, but in the second half, they knew, we did it before, we can do it again. I think that there's just no fear in what Benfica has to show or brings today on the field.
From the 4th position all the way down to the 18th position, there's no team that fears Benfica. You hit the nail on the head. Any team knows that if they play nice and compact, they could frustrate Benfica, and the frustration will lead to anxiety. That anxiety will lead to lack of focus. And I think that teams then take advantage of that lack of focus, that anxiety of wanting to do well, of wanting to score. And I think that teams know that too well. Benfica doesn't scare anyone these days, and it's just it's a shame. If it was me, I would make those guys watch the Braveheart video, the speech, the Gladiator speech. What are they watching? An episode of Friends, The Simpsons, I don't know, the Seinfeld. What are they watching at halftime? Is the film that they watch, because no doubt the scouts are putting this together, is the film that they watch something that reassures them that they're doing well to keep doing what you're doing? And even if you see different looks by the other team, don't worry about it. Things will come together. I don't know.
But do you guys think this is on the players or on the coaching staff that doesn't have them prepared? Or do you think it's a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both, because if you're a player and you're professional, you've been in locker rooms all your life, you know what it's like to psych yourself out, to play a game, to focus, to get your head in the game. And I think that right now the players lack that. They don't seem invested in this team. And then you have a coach that is not your best man manager. He's not a Mourinho. He's not a guy that's going to motivate players, that's going to have players run through walls for him. So it's a combination of both. And you have an inept coach, and you have a team that it lacks confidence, and that every little sign of adversity, they'll just put their tails between their legs and go home.
Well, as I mentioned before, Boavista starts off the second half with a real good scoring opportunity. Vlaco Dimos was there to prevent that. And Boavista kept applying the pressure. And then Verissimo goes to the bench, makes a substitution. Taarabt was completely missing. He was nowhere to be found in the second half. I mean, you guys know I praised the guy in the first half, and I've been praising the guy for a while. But in the second half, he was nowhere to be found. It's as if the team, whatever tactics they implemented in the first half, whatever instruction they have from the coaching staff, it was like, okay, totally ignore that. Come out to the second half. Don't pay attention. Just go out there and do whatever the hell you want.
Ignore that.
Yeah, just ignore that. It worked to perfection. Let's ignore it. Let's try something else, guys. And every time that Verissimo, I think this is one of the criticism that I think we could all agree on since he's taken over here the second half, the second time at Benfica for the departed Jorge Jesus, which is every time he goes to the bench, it seems that the team gets worse. Every time he touches the team, it's as if the guys that come in don't add anything. If anything, they subtract. So a minute later, Boavista gets one back. It's 2-1. Beautiful finish with the left foot near post. Vlaco Dimos, nothing he could do about it. But the one thing, if you guys go back and look at that one play, and Alfredo, you and I looked at it multiple times, I forget the guy's name, but he has the ball on the right side. He's in between three Benfica players. He's able to 1-2 off a guy. He back heels it, steps over, really, drags it back, whatever. It's like a back heel, wannabe back heel. He one times it in the near post. It's 2-1. Benfica play. No one tracked that player. No one's paying attention to these details. The one thing that we've all been told over the years, right? Even when Bruno Lage, when Verissimo was his assistant, was, oh, this guy's he's the set piece specialist because he hammers down all the details, but yet when you see his teams play, nobody's paying attention to the details because everyone's able to run and do whatever the hell they want on their own while everybody looks at one another. And so now things are tight. It's the 74th minute. Okay, still 2-1. You think Benfica now is going to wake up? They absolutely do not. And so with about 15 minutes to go, Boavista pulls one back. And then before you know it, off of a throw-in, Benfica still napping in the back. Credit to Boavista for having the wherewithal to, let's get on this quick. Let's catch Benfica napping. And they did. They scored. They leveled the game. It's 2-2. In a 10-minute spurt, it's 2-2. Benfica is done. And it's like the lights went off at halftime. They never went on. Not the 2-1, not the 2-2. And this is just, as a Benfiquista, as all of us here, the Freddies, you guys, it's sad, man. It's heartbreaking to watch this team. And so, do you think that these players have given up?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that there's no fire. There's no fire. There's no motivation. There's no drive for these players. I mean, as Boris was saying, that after the shit show, Grimaldo was on Twitter publicizing some NFTs. And then a couple of days later, Lazaro is doing the same thing. And I understand these are our contractual obligations, but fuck, man, what timing? What kind of timing is that? Right after the game, it's almost like you're on a bus trip home from Porto, and you're tweeting these things. I mean, if Grimaldo's not doing it, if it's whatever company runs a social media,
what I miss,
you're insensitive. No, he was doing that NFT thing, publicizing NFTs, NFT cards, or pictures, whatever.
That's all marketing, man.
It's all marketing,
all pre-scheduled to go out.
I understand, but the people that run a social media have to be sensible to the timing of those posts, and there isn't a worse post to make than one soon after a loss, because
but Grimaldo did his part. He scored a goal. He contributed. I lost. It ain't my fault.
Post that shit to
NFT, man. No, not the what is it? Nothing to whatever.
It's non. Dave, help me out with the
fungible
definition.
Token.
Non-fungible token, and this is
no vale nada. That's what it is. Non-functional.
No, it's not that functional that you're talking about.
Oh, sorry.
Functional, some shit. I don't understand NFTs. I'm sure some of you guys understand what NFTs, but it's a fucking joke, man. You got to be sensitive to the timing of the post. It's awful.
Well, the Grimaldo did get a breather in the 87th minute.
So yeah,
Gilberto Carlos, who's fresh off of recording his last single. And then Yaremchuk for Gonzalo Ramos with 3 minutes to go, as if like, all right, guys, come on. You got 3 minutes to give us a lift, and, we're going to pull this one out. It's completely asinine. It seems as if everyone's sleeping. And the biggest gripe that I got with all this, is I'll get into that in a second because we still got some notes to talk about this. It's another game that Benfica's up 2-0, 2-0, that and they're able to squander this game. It's again, man, I keep on repeating myself, but when is this crap gonna end, guys? I mean, this is week after week. They're not inspired. We, the fans, are not inspired. Credit to the Benfiquistas for traveling out the best. So we know it's not easy to go out there to Porto and show your support, but they did nonetheless. And it's just the players' efforts, the coaching staff. None of this is matching our effort off the field. If they matched our efforts, and bro, I changed my whole schedule around to make sure I'm free to watch these games. People are traveling down, hours and hours away from their home to watch this mess. And it just seems like we're the only ones that put in an effort while the club is asleep.
Yeah, and apparently Rui Costa came to the locker room again.
You know how our friend Gigante, he's got the little clipboard of every time there was a Luis Vieira interview, it's like you already knew what phrases were coming out.
Yeah, like the bingo board.
I think because it's funny because I was in a group and I don't recall now, and I forget if you're listening. I don't know. I don't recall. But I remember being in a group and someone saying, as the game was still 2-2, wasn't even over yet, and Rui Costa balneario. It's like it's kind of like that bingo. You know the set phrases that you're gonna get after these terrible performances. Now, the one thing that annoyed me the most, guys, believe it or not, the one thing that annoyed, obviously the 2-2, the giving up the 2-0 lead was pissed me off. But the one thing that annoyed the heck out of me was this bullshit. Okay, that they want to feed us Benfiquistas, and this is the crap that I can't stand.
So come scares.
They think we are dumb enough. And there's plenty of you dumb people out there, but fortunately, for my saying, I'm dumb in a lot of things, but not in this, right? I don't eat that stuff, which is after the game, after another miserable performance, Dave, after another miserable game, they want to come out here and shovel crap right into your mouth, right? Eva, Veríssimo pôs o lugar dele à disposição. So Veríssimo basically said, look, I'll go on my way. Okay, I'll resign, right? And then apparently, no, you're the right man. No, bro, you got tall, bro. You're everything. You're the perfect, you're the ideal coach for our project, right? And then that's what they, obviously for him to stay, that's what they must have told him, I'm assuming. And then fast forward from Friday to yesterday, and the line from Veríssimo is, well, we're part of the solution. We know what we're doing. So wait a minute.
I'm part of the solution.
I'm part of, wait a minute, hold up. Just a couple of days, you put your spot up for whatever, like, get rid of me. And all of a sudden, 3 days later, you find yourself as part of the solution. What the fuck changed in a couple of days? Excuse my French, but so just a couple of days ago, you thought you were miserable. And now 3 days later, you found the light? Oh,
the lights.
There we go.
The lights never stop.
I'm glad you brought this up, Chris, because I was going to bring this up because really the coaching change happened, I guess, to maybe light a spark under some of these guys, but it's had the exact opposite effect on these guys. If anything, we've got the stats to.
I think that that question has already been asked here.
Yeah,
we've doing worse under Veríssimo than we were under JJ.
We've got the stats. We've got the stats to show that Benfica's actually been playing worse under Veríssimo. But
without a doubt, you don't even need stats for that. Jeff.
You can make the argument that they're treating this as a preseason or whatever you want to do, but. At some point, I guess because Braga is still only 7 points behind us for that the third spot here. But at what point do we start looking over our shoulder and do we have to make a coaching change out of necessity? At what point does it get to that?
Maybe after you get humiliated by Ajax.
Calma.
That coaching change happened.
You guys are way too pessimistic. You guys need a session with my friend Carlos. That's what you guys need. Listen, Dave. Do
you see what Carlos is writing? I was already depressed.
Yeah. I was already depressed, and now looking at Alfredo, looking over there, defeated, looking completely defeated. I'm about to double my drink. Hey, send one over this way, guys. Dave, you know that old thing, like that's what that's saying, Alfredo. You complete me, bro. You're a guy. I'm burro, and you complete these phrases. Be careful what you wish for, right? Be careful what you wish, because I used to come on here, and you guys know. Look, I got it completely wrong. You know what I mean? I was extremely excited when JJ came over to Benfica, made his triumphant return, at least I thought. And then, only to fall flat on his face. But I thought his firing or his release or his amicable departure, whatever the hell you want to call it. I thought it made no sense at the time. I thought it was for the wrong reasons. And so I kind of defended him a little bit. Not saying that he should have stayed, but I defended the way he was treated, the way that things were done at the time. But I used to come here, right? And it goes back to the be careful what you wish for. And I used to just, with a smirk, hey, Alfredo, like, yeah, digging it in. Hey, Alfredo, so is Benfica playing worse now or better than JJ? And now it's like, bro, be careful what you wish for, because now I got my answer. And it's not a good one.
No.
And it is absolutely not a good one, man. And it's depressing. I think Benfica got carried away, and I've criticized management publicly, openly, various times. When you side with the players, this is what you open yourself up for, right? And we're not talking about one time. This is, allegedly multiple times already that the inmates are running the asylum. And when that happens, you lose all control. And it just seems like it's been, difficult for whomever the head coach is, the president, to get these guys and corral them and get them all on the same page. And you look at these guys out there, and it's as if they're expecting something bad to happen. You see from a body language, they're just not players that are into the game. It's as if, okay, we're, whatever, man. Look, contractually, we got to do this. Terminar o calendario.
Yeah.
And it's just not calendario. It's not a good look. And now you have very important matches, right? Forgetting this last nightmare. Let's move on, because I know you're anxious to talk about Ajax tomorrow. Tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow. Wednesday. At the start of the lose Champions League matchup, a team that Benfica should be looking at and saying, look, we need to mold our things and try to be a little bit like Ajax. And they don't. And it's absolutely heartbreaking that Benfica is run like a circus rather than a legit club, that should be one of the elite clubs in all of European football. But unfortunately, that's not the case. You want to give us your thoughts, your expectations, your
look. I agree with what Boris was saying before. And they've had the comment up that and you guys know that I'm not a JJ fan, right? And he says the club should have backed JJ and punished the rebels in the locker room. I completely agree. If there was one example of mismanagement by Rui Costa of the situation, this was it. Because unless you were looking for a reason to get rid of JJ, unless you were doing that, you have to back your coach, right? Especially when you see that there's bad apples in the locker room, because as Cristiano said, now you kind of open a precedent, right? Because if they did this to Lage, now they're doing it to JJ. Who's next? I've always heard the saying, no one player is ahead of the club, but it does look that's it does look like that's the case.
Real quick before you go on, Dave, do me a favor, scroll up and put up scroll up in the chat. Put up my man, what's his name?
Swafford?
No. Raining. Put up his comment, his last comment right before Benfica Americano. No. Yeah. Up. Scroll up.
It says,
Benfica fans have this delusion that they'll get a European top manager. I completely agree with that, but I just wanted you to put up, and I want you to finish your point. We'll get back, but I just didn't want to lose that train of thought.
I don't know. I'm just saying that there was a bad example of poor management, and it speaks to how over his head Rui Costa is, regardless of how many locker rooms he shared and so on and so forth. He is a guy that right now he's totally out of his depth. He can't really do anything about. His hands must be swollen of all the punches he's done on the table, and there's no answer for the team. And worst yet is that nobody comes out publicly and says something about what's being done with this team, what the coaching situation is, because right now, I think, and there's some names that popped up this week, obviously, but it's the level of inactivity by the directive and headed by Rui Costa.
Well, maybe they already know. They're on front, bro. They already know.
Oh, so we're getting a coach from the future, is that what you're saying?
Well, we know it's not Verissimo, but they already know. They make these play. Já tá tudo feitinho. Who are the names? Enlighten us, because I mean, obviously I missed it. Who names have been associated with you?
Jardim.
Linhares Jardim.
The dude from that's at Fulham.
Mark Silva.
Mark Silva.
He ain't leaving, bro. He's in London and he's about to get his team promoted to the Premier League.
It wasn't Fonseca. I forget who it was.
Fonseca?
No, I don't know if it was Fonseca. There was 3 guys. And then none of them was...
Vitor Pereira.
No, not Vitor Pereira.
I like him, though. But a lot of people don't like that guy because he's associated with Porto, but I like him.
The guy that you like, Luis Castro, is going to Brazil, apparently.
No, I liked him as an interim. I didn't want him as full-time. But Vitor Pereira is a guy that got fired by Porto after winning the championship. So he's got something, he's got, what's it called? The grind. He's got an axe to grind.
He's got a machado.
He's got a machado to grind. I think it'd be a guy to come in and in order to beat a bully, guys, and in order to get a bully to stop messing, trust me, I was bullied a lot. Way back. It is
like, olha pra tu cara, dá vez logo.
Depois comecei a praticar aquela merda toda. But in order to stop a bully from bullying, you got to treat a bully like you're a bully. And you might be a weak, but just the fact that they might think you're crazy. So they'll leave you alone. And I think Vitor Pereira will come in and he'll act like that. And I think he'll have plenty of, fight back for the other guys. And I know a lot of people don't like him because he, of his ties with Porto, but we need to get rid of all that crap. At the end of the day, these guys are professionals.
We need to clean house from top to bottom.
Bro, I think Benfica needs one of those. What's the show on A&E? Interventions. Benfica needs an intervention, bro. Because the facts are, we are living in the past. And we hate when people say the last time you had European success, TV was black and white. And that's a fact. And we've had decent success. We made it to finals, which is, obviously you'd rather make it to finals than not make it, right? But you want to win one eventually. But we need an intervention. Benfica needs to look at themselves in the mirror and realize what they are. They got away from what was successful. We don't know. Is Benfica a feeder club? Is Benfica a club that's going to go get, some of the best youngsters throughout world football and implement them into European football and then win some titles and hopefully make some money off of these guys later on? Is Benfica the type of team that's going to go spend 20, 30 million on made players? What are we right now? Do we know what the identity?
We don't know.
We don't. Nobody knows.
The only thing we know is that Benfica has lost its identity. That's the only thing that we know. Because you look at this team and say, what is the identity of this team? You look at Porto and Sporting, and you know exactly what their identity is. Right? You look at this Benfica.
Yeah, but Sporting's always been the same identity. Sporting's been like that since I was a little kid, which is develop the young kids. But, bro, the thing, and again, with this intervention, people need to realize and look at themselves in the mirror. We need to know what it is. At the end of the day, Sporting has that luxury year after year because they go so long without winning that, look, we're not winning, but we're developing kids. And look, they're having success at Real Madrid. And that's who they are, right? Benfica, the thing that bothers me about Benfiquistas is they will come on our podcast, they will talk in social media, and I'll speak and hang out with a lot of these guys, and they'll feed me we need to play the guys from Seixal. We need to develop the guys from Seixal. But yet they forget that in order to develop the guys from Seixal, you're going to go through some bumps. It ain't going to be, you got the João Felix, you got Renato. Those are two. Even Ruben Diaz had a difficult time at first. There's very few guys that come in, and even my boy João Felix, it took him 6 months for him to really adapt and really to him to assert him. So, think about it. If Bruno Lage doesn't take over and Rui Vitória stays on as manager, he was being loaned out to Marítimo. So it didn't take this guy, it took him, he didn't come in from day one and took off. So what I tell you guys that call for youngsters to play, you're going to go through rough patches. You can't be the first mother at the stadium with your white hankies when you're not getting the results. You can't have it either way. If you're going to go that road, you got to give the club time. You have to give the coaches time. But that's not Benfica. That's not who Benfica is. That's not their identity, guys. Benfica's always been a club that has the pressure of competing for that championship year after year after year. Sporting, on the other hand, they could sit there and say, yeah, we lost, we're in fourth place, but we developed kids. That's just their identity. We need to look at those.
I don't agree with that 100%. I think that Sporting does focus on
developing kids, but I do think that every time that they field a team for the season is with the intentions of winning.
See, of course. I mean, once every 20 years.
I think that and obviously this is not a Sporting podcast, but I think that Sporting kind of a bunch of things came together for Sporting, and it's really helped them. Obviously, Ruben Amorim being one of them. Number two is the ability to integrate the kids like he did last year without the pressure of fans in the stadium. Number three, wasn't playing in Europe, given plenty of time to work out the team every single week. So,
and number four, which is the biggest reason
for okay,
you needed a global pandemic for their freaking plan to work.
Well, yeah,
it was a perfect storm.
There's a lot of things. There was a lot of things that came together that helped out Sporting. So what is the identity of Sporting this and somebody mentioned this on the chat. What is Sporting's identity this season? Sporting's identity is the identity of his coach, a guy that's a good manager, that's a good motivated, that believes in young kids, yet doesn't give them a lot of rope to hang themselves on, and is a guy that is shown to believe in the kids. And on top of being a good coach. So he's had success with that. And as I mentioned, and Cristiano mentioned, the global pandemic helped them because they basically played all of last season without the pressure of the fans. And for a kid that enters a stadium and there's 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 people in the stands, it's intimidating. Mm-hmm. For kids to be able to play with the confidence of their coach and not have somebody from the stands criticize them on every little bad pass that they made them because they're kids, it has allowed these kids to develop this confidence and develop their skills to the point that this season, again, Sporting has a really good team. I think they probably have a couple players that are world-class players.
World-class.
I would say, but our top in the Portuguese league, you could say that.
Yeah. Okay. See, Mazafre, but to me, man, look, that's who they are, though.
Right.
That's their identity. They're going to have the backbone. They got Adan, who's older than us in goal. They got Coates, who's a veteran, been around. Palhinha's been around in the port, being loaned out. He's been experienced. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like, Palhinha's a youngster. He's going to play. Then you spent 15 to 16 million on Paulinho. They got Pot. They got Porro. They got Sarabia on loan this year, who I told you from the get-go. Ugarte was this year. But I'm talking about the championship team last year, right? Those guys that had a key role, those are veterans sprinkled in with the youngsters that they've always had the luxury. Last year, Sporting had no pressure. No one expected Sporting to win the title last year. So I was like, hey, we got nothing to lose. And it worked out. But again, that's who they are. I'm not going to give them extra credit. And I'm not hating on them. Look, credit to them. My point is that's not who Benfica is. The minute you start playing 4, 5, 6 kids in this Benfica team, and then you have the same result that you just had at Bessa, 2-2 after being up 2-0, you're going to chew up the coach and spit him out. There is no luxury for any coach at Benfica or president to go through that, because that's a process that takes 3, 4, 5 years to perfect. Benfica doesn't have that time. And this is why I'm saying Benfiquistas need to look at themselves and really, ask of themselves what it is that they want from this club. I don't want that club playing kids. That's not what I miss the Benfica, and I think that's where Benfica lost their way. I miss the Benfica where they had the veterans, like I mentioned, the Coates and the guys at Sporting, right? But then Benfica went out and they found the young gems, right? They found the Di Maria. They found the Nico Gaitan. They found the Enzo Paris. They stopped getting those guys. The fact is that ever since Benfica started having success with Seixal, they stopped signing the foreign, the young Argentinian. That's the next guy. They've shied away from that. And I think that's why Benfica hasn't had results. Because now everybody that's coming up from Seixal has that fame or expectation that they're going to be the next João Felix. They're going to be the next Ruben Dias, the next Ratza, next Lindelof. And the fact is that, bro, those guys are special. And it's hard to get players like that year after year. Normally, you're going to get a gap 3 to 4 years before you get your next, right? You're not going to pump these guys up every single year. And I think that's where Benfica has failed, is in realizing that every kid that gets called up, like Gonçalo Ramos, I'm not saying he's not going to get there tomorrow. Paulo Bernardo, I'm not saying he's not going to get there tomorrow. I can tell you they're not there today. And when you have these guys playing important minutes, then you wonder why you're not getting the results that you're expecting. But that's for another conversation for another day. I want to get back to the Ajax preview.
Let Dave give you stats.
That's what I was going to get. Dave, before the stats, your thoughts on tomorrow, and let's get a score line.
Let him give you stats on the Boavista game.
On the Boavista recap.
Oh, you're see, that's why you're the host, bro.
No, you're hosting.
Yeah, but you're coaching.
This was the first time Petit-led club has taken away points from Benfica in league competition. Previous 12 meetings resulted in 12 losses for Petit, so finally got one over his former club. Benfica has already lost out on a possible 10 points in 8 games with Nelson Veríssimo in charge, compared to 7 points dropped with JJ in charge through 15 games this season. And Benfica's failed to keep a clean sheet in their last 6 games with Veríssimo in charge, and they've only kept a total of 2 out of his 10 games that he's been in charge.
Not much to say about that.
Not good, Alfredo. Alfredo, you're a little dejected today. Are you like just taking a back seat because you're not hosting, or just because you're really?
No, I'm allowing you to go with it. I don't think there's much else that we could say about this Benfica without getting the blood pressure going and getting upset. And I think that when you're amongst friends like I am with Cristiano and Dave and all the Freddies in the chats, I think it's not worth getting your blood pressure and your stress levels to a level where you're just upset.
But we can't help it though.
We can't help it, but I think that there's a lot of things that we kind of need to look in retrospect and see that there's more important things in life and in friendship, especially Benfiquista friendships, that you could share and cherish and find comfort in. And I think that this is probably one of those moments where I know that there's a lot of guys that are suffering just like us three. And it's hard because you want to offer some words of solace and comfort, but it's difficult. It's difficult to watch this team play and not feel that you don't identify with this team, and you're just, I don't know. It's hard. You're just upset and unexcited, and you wish the season was over already. And week after week, you continue to get up in the morning and think about today Benfica will plays, and you're kind of looking forward to the game, and then you're slapped in the face. You're slapped in the face with these performances. And it's very upsetting. It's upsetting, and it's frustrating, and it's demoralizing. But that's what we have this season. I'm not going to stop being more of a Benfiquista than what I am, just like everyone else. But it's just extremely frustrating to watch this team and seeing the inactivity or the passiveness from the top, from the people that are running this club, from the leaders of this club. It's hard. It's really hard because it almost feels like the fans are the club, and the people that are inside, there's no emotional investment in it. There's nothing in it for them but a paycheck. And I probably 100% of us would give our left nut to have the opportunity to defend this jersey and to defend the club's colors and to defend the club's values and morals that we grew up with. And then you see guys that are just dragging themselves on the field that don't even deserve to wear the jersey that they wear. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating for me, and it's frustrating for a lot of you guys. And we just got to go along with the tide, and hopefully a piece of wood will come along, and we're able to hold on to it and make it to shore by the end of the season, and have a reset somehow.
Can I give you a hug, bro?
No.
You seem like you need a hug. Listen,
give me a hug.
Jeez, like Shiku saying, Rui Costa must be rubbing off on you guys. Like you guys are in the hugging spirit.
Listen, with the MLS season upon us,
MLS is coming.
With the MLS season upon us, I've often said, I'm gonna give this shit up and watch my Red Bulls, but then I keep going back. Now, my Benfica is my first love, and I just can't tune away from this shit. We know it's a car wreck, but each week we come back, and we know things are gonna get better. We don't know when, but that's what's fun about it. None of it is fun right now, but it'll be fun again once we start winning and we start, turning these results into positive ones, and we start enjoying these things. So, Alfredo, better days are ahead of us, and hopefully sooner rather than later. And I think tomorrow is gonna be a good day. I don't think it's gonna be as bad as you're all predicting. I think Ajax is clearly, today a better team than what Benfica is. I don't think anyone could deny that. But at the same time, I don't think that they're this powerhouse that everyone is making them out to be. They're slapping Monkus 9-0 in those leagues. I mean, come on. I don't think they do that in the same.
They're smacking Monkus 9-0, and we're tying these Monkus in our league. So,
well, good point, Dave. And here's
I believe our league is stronger, Dave. Don't think for a second that the Portuguese league is not overall top to bottom stronger than the Eredivisie.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. One thing is to slap Monkus, and the other thing is to play in a manner that the team plays, where there's guys know where to go, guys know where to move, players are making the right runs, passes are going into the right lanes. One thing is that, and the other thing is watching Benfica play, that there's a complete disaster. And the second half against Boavista is like a car crash in slow motion, where you know what's going to happen, you know the impact, you know the consequence of the whole thing, and you already know how the movie's going to end. But I think that Ajax, in terms of a team that they are, and you're right, I wouldn't put them in the same category as PSG or Real Madrid or Bayern. I wouldn't put them in that category, but I think they're extremely well coached. I think that they have players that fit that team well, and I think that they're performing because of that. It's not that their fault that the league is weak, but every time they're in Europe, they have a good showing. I don't anticipate a win by Benfica tomorrow, to be honest with you.
I don't look. I'm not saying Benfica's going to win, but I don't think they're going to get slapped around like you guys are predicting either. I don't think it's going to be no 4, no 3, no 4.
If they get slapped around by Boavista.
Yeah, but again, tomorrow's Champions League, I like to think that these guys have some blood in them and that they're going to show up to play at the style to lose. I think the fans will show up. We know it's a European.
The fans will show up.
We know the fans will show up, and we like to think that these guys have, some blood in them, have a heartbeat, and that they want to represent themselves well in the biggest stage of European football.
Yeah, I think Vertonghen was in the press conference today, and he was saying that
Benfica is the Ajax.
That he doesn't need to say anything, or nobody needs to say anything to motivate these players, because if you don't get motivated to play in the Champions League, then you shouldn't be a professional footballer. So we'll see tomorrow. We'll see who's motivated and see who's up for the game. But right now, I have a saying that I live my life with. Is
got the notepad.
Expect nothing and you won't be disappointed. So that's what I'm going in for tomorrow. I'm expecting nothing from that game. So hopefully I won't be disappointed.
Prediction?
I'm gonna say 3-0 Ajax.
Dave, your thoughts and then prediction?
Yeah, I'm not feeling confident on this. So I know everyone in the chat, and you might have shared those sentiments as well, that the team doesn't need any extra motivation to get hyped up for a Champions League match. But so far, I haven't seen any ounces of motivation from this team. So I don't expect any difference tomorrow night. I'm going 3-1 for Ajax.
Well, I guess I have to be the one to spoil your party here. I got to be the positive one with lots of pleasure. I think Benfica is going to show up to play tomorrow. I don't think Ajax is as good as everyone's making them out to be. I think they're a good team, but they're not this dominant world power that everyone's making them out to be. I think Benfica will hang them. Will hang in there. I should say not hand. Benfica will hang in there, and I think they're going to make things interesting. I'm going to call for a 2-2 draw tomorrow. And now, due to the fact that there's no more away goals, that shit don't count. It's a good score to take back into your Cruyff Arena. I think Benfica will show up. I think Sporting with their backups were able to score 2 on that vaunted defense of theirs, and I think Benfica will show up. I think Benfica will do a good job tomorrow. As I said before, it's just, as a guy that used to kick the ball around once in a while, I like to think that they have some of that blood, them juices are running inside these guys, and that they want to show up and represent themselves well. And tomorrow the lights will be shining bright. And so, some positive thinking here, guys.
Yeah, they've had a good stat here, and regardless of what you think of the Dutch league, the Eredivisie. 10-match winning streak across all competitions with a scoreline of 39 goals scored and 1 against. Last loss came in December 12 against Alkmaar, 2-1 defeat at home. I don't know. It's just the team that's playing well, regardless of the level of talent.
Look, they are going through some controversy. One of the directors, Mark Overmars, former Barcelona and Arsenal player, had to step down because of sending some nudes, apparently some sexual explicit stuff. One of their assistant coaches also was involved, and they got accused by somebody. I think he's had to step down this week. So they have some turmoil. I don't know how much of that is really going to affect the players on the field, because, as we know, players normally like to tune that stuff. They turn that off and they don't really pay much attention to it. I think things will be interesting. It's going to be a very tough game, but I think Benfica, I think they can pull off a shocker tomorrow. They started to lose in terms of a positive score. I don't think it's that big of a gap as everyone's making it out to be. I think Benfica, when they're playing well and they're on the counter, they could catch players, they could catch the opposition napping. I think Darwin will be looking to show all the European sharks of his qualities. I think he's going to come to play. Rafa hopefully will show up to play. Adel Taarabt, if he's in there pulling the strings, and make things very interesting. On the other hand, they do have some quality players that could absolutely make a difference on the other side. But again, man, the bola redonda, we shall see what happens.
You think that plays tomorrow?
According to the newspapers, he's untouchable.
Untouchable.
He's untouchable, baby.
I'll be surprised if Taarabt plays tomorrow. But Record is already... When Record says untouchable is untouchable. Record has the inside track on who's starting.
Well, why would you be surprised off of his game where he had a really good game on Friday?
I think you're going to need a more defensively consistent game in the midfield.
Yeah, but you got to
that's my logic behind it.
But you understand, if you don't score, you can't win a game, and you need somebody to get the ball over the midfield line as well. I mean,
I understand that.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody worries about not conceding, and it's today's soccer. We're not conceding. What about scoring? In order to win, you got to score goals. And if you got a Munko in there that doesn't do anything but complete 5-yard passes, at the end of the day, okay, you're not conceding, but you're not scoring as well. I just think after the performance that he had over the weekend, I think he deserves an opportunity in a game like this. As another guy that's going to be motivated. He hasn't, he's been on the back of the room, hiding over throughout the season. He hasn't exactly gotten the minutes he thinks he deserves.
Who's that?
Taarabt. And he's going to have an opportunity tomorrow, hopefully, to show his buddies in England and throughout world football that, look, I'm here. I'm still alive, baby. I know you guys have been wondering where the hell I've been, but I'm still here. I'm still a presence. At least for this one game, maybe it makes a difference. I like to keep things positive tomorrow. So I'm saying 2-2. We shall see what happens. I know.
You said 2-2?
Yeah, I said 2-2. 2-2. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a fun game.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. I have
2-3-1. Dave has 3-1.
Dave has 3-1. I have 3-0.
Oh, 3-0. É pá, tu nem Darwin inspirado.
No, when you look at the amount of goals that Ajax is allowed, I don't know if Benfica has the firepower to score one. I don't know, man. Like I said, expect nothing. You won't be disappointed. And that's how I'm going into this game.
4-2 to them with like their kids, their backups, all their kids. They did.
4-2.
They also got spanked 5-0 too. In the
4-2.
5-1.
The score was 4-0, I think, and Sporting scored 2 goals
Okay,
after
who cares?
they took
Did they
the
not
foot
score?
off the gas.
They scored. Benfica's going to score tomorrow. It's going to be one of those 70s games. Cruyff against Eusebio. You know, got to.
I'm glad you have such a positive outlook because I'm going to talk to you after the game tomorrow, see how you feel. Maybe I'll record that conversation.
That's for our Patreon channel.
Yeah, let's record that conversation. Like you and I have interesting conversations, especially after the game.
Não sei de nada.
Vamos gravar isso para depois falarmos.
All right, well, let's hope we keep things positive. Let's hope Benfica shows up. Moving on to this. When do we play? Saturday, Sunday? When's the game, Dave? I don't even know.
Probably Monday.
That goes to show you how like
there's Sunday or Monday.
I'm
27th Sunday.
I'm looking forward to these Benfica league games. Benfica going up against Guimarães at home, I'm assuming, correct?
At home.
Guimarães has not been on a good streak of late. Neither has Benfica. So it'll be two teams on bad form to make things interesting at the Estádio da Luz.
Diz ao Dave para dar os stats.
Dá os stats, Dave.
Guimarães are currently in 6th with 30 points from 8 wins, 6 draws, 9 defeats. Their last 5 games, 2 wins against Braga and Estoril, 3 defeats against Arouca, Bissad, and Vizela. Last time Guimarães beaten Benfica was the Taça Portugal final in May 2013, going 19 wins, 5 draws during that spell Benfica has against Guimarães. This season, Benfica's won against Guimarães 3-1 and also drawn 3-3 for the in the Taça da Liga match.
Well, be another interesting one at the Estádio da Luz. We'll see what Nelson Verissimo and company have in store for us.
Yeah, Pippa saw white handkerchiefs this past game. Not doing too well. Sold Edwards to Sporting.
I don't think he had a choice. I don't think it was his say.
Well, it is to say, but still, I mean, he's a guy that if he's with them, he's another weapon that they have. And right now, they don't have many weapons. They're struggling. Last 2 games, 2 losses, not doing that well. Benfica's not doing that well. It will be the battle of the monks.
Didn't Benfica? We lost to them the last time we played them, right?
No, 3-3.
3-3.
Oh, 3-3. Okay.
That was another game where Vitória Guimarães.
We were up 3-1.
Vitória Guimarães thought they could have won that game.
Yeah, we were up 3-1, and all of a sudden we were lucky to hang on for the 3-3 score line. So
yeah, we were, and we needed to score a next amount of goals in order to go past because we were tied with Guimarães in the group stages of the Taça da Liga. If you recall that. Yeah, we tied them and then we tied them and then we had to beat Covilhã, right? Covilhã by
2 goals or
a bunch of goals.
Yeah. Like 2 goals or more. That's what it was.
But yeah, I mean,
we did.
Yeah, but did we really need to tie Guimarães after being up 3-1? And I can tell you, 3-1 is not the most dangerous score line.
To answer your question, I already know we don't need to tie anyone or lose to anyone. No, we don't need any of that. No. To be more direct. But nonetheless, listen, thank you, Freddy's. On behalf of Dave, on behalf of Capitão Alfredo. Because, I'll say you guys don't want to praise me, but I thought I did a hell of a job.
You did a good job. You did good, Cristiano. You did good.
Hopefully you guys save this because it's not going to happen again. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. But I think if you guys don't have anything else to say, we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to go light our candles, say our Pai Nosos, Ave Marias, and hope that things go well tomorrow at the Estádio da Luz.
Yep.
Well, with that in mind,
if the Freddies have anything else for us to talk about, because I'm sure there's going to be more losses coming our way here. So
trying to keep it under an hour.
You almost made it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of those. As I mentioned, you go into the games with these expectations only to be let down. It's like you go on a date, that hot girl.
Prepare for prepare for the worst, hope for the best.
Yeah. But
well, appreciate it. Tune in next week. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on iTunes. No, iTunes.
Yeah,
iTunes. Check us out on Instagram. All that good stuff. Subscribe, like us, compliment me all day. Criticize these guys, compliment me. That's how it goes. It's been another fun hour talking about Benfica. I don't know how much fun it was for Alfredo, but it was a lot of fun for me. So thank you guys very much, and stay tuned. Check you guys out next week.
Go!